Have you ever felt that your parents' love was suffocating? Have you noticed that instead of being something that sets you free, protects you, and strengthens you, that love turned into an invisible chain that controls, limits, and even prevents you from growing? A parent's love should be a shelter, but sometimes it becomes a cell. A love filled with demands, emotional blackmail, and control disguised as care. And the worst part, often it takes years to realize it, because it's love. And that's exactly why it hurts so much. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most delicate and painful topics in family life. When parents' love, even full of good intentions, becomes an emotional prison. Get ready to understand how this happens, how it affects you, and how to break free from this cycle without stopping loving those who raised you. The love of a father and mother, in its purest essence, is a force meant to nurture, protect, and propel. But when that love comes mixed with fear, insecurity, emotional dependence, or a need for control, it becomes distorted. Instead of strengthening, it paralyzes. Instead of giving wings, it ties you down. This happens when parents confuse care with possession, protection with domination, and presence with surveillance. The result is a child who, instead of growing freely, molds themselves to the image and desires of those who raised them. This kind of love doesn't shout. It whispers commands disguised as concern. It doesn't set clear boundaries. It imposes silent fear. It doesn't say, "I trust you." It says, "I am afraid you will get lost." And that fear becomes a fence, a chain, a prison. Sometimes they are phrases said almost lovingly. "You're all I have." "I just want to protect you." "I lived for you." "I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did." They seem sweet but carry an invisible weight of responsibility, guilt, and obligation. The child grows up feeling they must repay that love with perfection, obedience, eternal gratitude, even if that costs their individuality. And the most painful part is that, in most cases, parents don't even realize they're doing this. They sincerely believe they're loving in the best way they can. But love, when it fails to recognize the other as a free being, becomes a way of imprisoning in the name of protection. This prison love starts early, when parents don't allow their child to make mistakes. When they suppress their child's feelings with, "It is nothing," or "Stop crying." When they decide everything the child should feel, choose, and live. When they make obedience a condition for affection. The child doesn't understand they're being imprisoned. They only feel that being themselves isn't safe. And so they start to hide, to lie, to stay silent. Not out of malice, but for emotional survival. This intensifies during adolescence, when the need for autonomy awakens. Any attempt at freedom becomes conflict. The teen is labeled as ungrateful, rebellious, difficult, when in truth, they're just trying to breathe beyond the chains. This prison love doesn't hit physically, but it hurts. It doesn't scream, but it silences. It doesn't bind with real chains, but with expectations and guilt as heavy as iron. And when you live years inside this model, you start believing this is what love is supposed to be. That to be loved, you must erase yourself. That to love, you must give yourself up. And that any act of freedom is betrayal. That's why this love hurts so much. Because it doesn't come from an enemy. It comes from the people you love the most. These parents don't love freely. They condition their affection to the behavior they expect from you. You feel you must mold yourself, stay quiet, please, obey, or you'll lose their love. It's love with a manual. Be the ideal child. Don't disagree. Don't disappoint. Don't live differently. Don't grow too much. The message is clear. You are only worthy of love if you do exactly what is expected of you. And this creates a confused adult, afraid to take a stand, afraid to make mistakes, afraid of being rejected for being authentic. The cruelest part of this love is that it doesn't end when you grow up. Even away from your parents' house, you remain imprisoned within yourself. The voices from the past echo. Don't disappoint. You're only valuable if you're useful. Be perfect. You owe me everything. You find yourself avoiding risks, suffocating your desires, living for approval, even if your parents don't say anything anymore. The prison remains. But now, you are your own jailer. Living under this kind of love creates deep emotional consequences. Low self-esteem. You feel like you're never enough. Constant guilt. You always feel wrong, even when doing what's right for you. Fear of choices. Every decision feels like a minefield of guilt. Toxic relationships. You get used to control and attract partners who imprison you too. Struggle to speak up. You avoid confrontation, even if it costs your peace. Need to please. You live to be accepted, even if it destroys you. All of this comes from one place, a love that should set you free, but chained you. Freedom begins when you understand. Loving isn't accepting everything. And being a child doesn't mean being an emotional hostage. You can, and should, love your parents without letting them control your life. Here are some important steps to break free. Recognize the pattern. Identify the kind of love you received. Was it freedom or control? Separate love from manipulation. Not all affection comes from a healthy place. It's possible to love and still acknowledge what hurts. Set emotional boundaries. Say no, even if it hurts. Respect yourself first. Rewrite your story. You don't have to repeat what you received. You can build a love that's free, without chains. Seek emotional help. Therapy, self-knowledge, and spirituality can give you strength to break free and live more truthfully. Freeing yourself from this prison love is not an act of rebellion. It is an act of healing. It's looking at yourself and saying, I allow myself to be whole, even if they don't understand. It's accepting that you can honor your parents, respect them, love them, without giving up on yourself. Because real love doesn't control, doesn't guilt, doesn't imprison. Real love sets free, strengthens, allows the other to grow. You have the right to be free, to love without losing yourself, and to build a new story, where love is a shelter, never a cell. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Leave your like, share, and subscribe.